Hi everybody, welcome back to Sprocket Man Designs. As you can see, I've now got my clock face back from there. One day I will say their name right, first time. Spray Quick Powder Coating. Jace has done a fantastic job with this amazing gold finish. Unfortunately you won't be able to tell on the screen too easily, but it's textured, so depending on where the light's hitting it, it looks a very slightly different shade of gold. Hopefully that will give it away a little bit. Now I'm actually hoping that the mechanism I've got here is going to be long enough This is just in from Dan's clock shop. You've missed out on the exciting part of me removing all the packaging because, man, is that ever a fight. I've got a feeling I've ordered one that's just a fraction too long, but I'd rather the shaft was a fraction too long than too short. There we go. Give me the washer. Come on, thank you. And there goes the washer. I'll go and look for that in a minute. Okay, so if all goes according to plan now, actually that's not going to be too bad. Good job I always keep spare nuts and washers hanging about, isn't it? Actually, you know, that's only maybe possibly 10 mil longer than it really needs to be, which isn't a bad thing. It just means the hands can sit away. It also means I might have a bit of a play. I just need to pinch that down a fraction. And of course I've put my spanner away, won't be a moment. I say spanner and I've just reached for a socket. And I've reached for the wrong size socket, of course, because that's the way it works. These don't have to be tightened up super tight, simply because the brass shaft there connects through to the lovely mechanism inside that you should be able to see. There you go. And if you over tighten it, you run the risk of it all jamming up against the inside of the case. So literally just, and I mean just, finger tight is plenty. It also means I've got a little bit of wriggle room when it comes to adjusting the position of the hands. Okay. Now just to fight, should have opened this up before I started filming really, shouldn't I? Oh well. Oh well. Now once we've got this together, I'll move this, as it turns out, barbecue lid out of the road, and you can see another clock face I've recently started. Okay, so hour hand, minute hand and second hand. Now, I'm not putting silver hands onto a gold face, this just happens to be the way they're fitted in the cardboard, if I could get past the tape. problem with these hands is they are so thin and they are so easy to bend. Actually, these are going to look great. Okay, I'm going to leave this second hand pinned onto the cardboard for now because it's safer that way. Now these usually have a very thin layer of plastic on them just to protect them, and sure enough it does. So let's get rid of that. And of course it's sticking to my fingers. Okay. So there's your hour hand. What you can do, you get these bits of plastic off, honest. Well, one of them had to be easy. It would help if I didn't try juggling with it and chucking it halfway across the workshop and messing it up. Actually, no, the shaft length being what it is, that's creating quite a lovely shadow underneath the hands. Now because these are push fit, this is where I usually struggle like mad to get the minute hand lined up properly. Right. That's gone on remarkably easily, so I'm going to smile happily and quit while I'm ahead. And finally, just see if I can get the plastic off the second hand. I say that, I'm trying, but I can't seem to feel a plastic film on it. Now I'm quite prepared to put my hands up once I've fitted it and say it hasn't got one, but I think I'll just take a few extra seconds to make sure. No, it doesn't appear to have one. Okay, so that being said, this should now just you're meant to just pop into the centre there. There we go. Lovely. And as you can see, just about, they all clear one another quite nicely. There is a gap between the clock face and the hands, but not one I'm going to worry about. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. One completed clock. In fact, if I turn it so it makes sense that way as well. There you go. Okay, right, I'm going to move that out of the way and put it somewhere very safe. You could argue that on top of my pillar drill isn't necessarily the safest place, but there's far more dangerous ones in here for it to be, like on the bench top. Right, so under here, big reveal, are some sprockets I started on previously. Now, this one on the top here is actually going to be the back of the clock face. Oops, sorry, put my jacket in the way. There you go. So this top one, which I've polished up a lot more, is going to be behind the slightly smaller one, which will be on the front of the face of the clock. With that one, instead of using a flap wheel to take all the anodizing off, all I've done is wire brush it. Two reasons: one, it gets rid of all the muck, and the other is I like the colour of the finish, and when I clear coat this one, which is my plan, I'm hoping there'll be a real subtle but very pleasant difference between the two finishes. So panning you out, well, not panning but zooming, there you go. So for my next trick, I guess I'm going to have to start welding. Before I do, I'm going to go hunting for my spare clock washer. So that being said, I'll see you shortly. Okay, I'm about to start just tacking this lot together with my little MIG welder. The welder I use is a Clark's gasless MIG welder, or no gas. Pardon me. The reason I use that is, to be fair, it's one less variable that I have to try and work out, and being a complete amateur welder, as no doubt some people out there will have noticed I am, it simplifies setting up, getting things ready, so anything that helps me do the job a little bit easier, I'm all for. At this point I would also like to thank all the guys at Machine Mart in Openshaw. I was there the other day buying some stuff, and with their advice I ended up not buying another welder but buying a pile of other gear, which came to about the same value. So my appreciation for the team there is huge. So yeah, if you are thinking of taking up messing about with bits of metal like this, just go to your nearest Machine Mart and ask their advice, because they will not do you wrong. And so let's see what happens when we try this. Well, it all looks reasonably okay. We will find out. Actually, let me turn my welder off. There we go. If it doesn't need to be switched on, there's no point keeping it switched on. Well, I haven't welded it to the bench top, which is always a positive. And you may have noticed again, like in the previous video, I'm now putting the earth contact onto my bench top, because now I've taken sufficient paint off of my bench, it seems to work quite nicely, so I'm not going to argue. So that, with a little bit of cleaning up, is going to look the business. It's a little bit warm to handle just at the moment, so I'm going to wait a minute or two, give that a quick whiz round, clean it up, and then get it ready to have to clean it up again. Or do I just clean it all up in one go? If all goes according to plan, a lot of this, pardon me for reaching past the lens, should, in theory, just wipe off, and it does. So what I might do once I'm finished is go to the shop and buy some cotton buds and use those. The only places where it really won't work is where it's discoloured slightly, as you can just about see in there where it's gone very slightly blue. But that's finishing off before it goes to powder coat problem. This inner one, where it's discoloured very slightly from the heat again, I might just whiz round with a wire brush and just skim over it, see if it takes it off. If it does, great, it'll still give me the finish I want. If it doesn't, I'll have to have a think. But, you know, we'll worry about that when we get to it. So the next part of this build is attaching this one. As you can see, it's not another highly polished one. I've literally just wire brushed it, and what I intend to do is first of all decide which way up I want it. I think probably that way, and that's going to go on something like that. And again, I'll tack it from behind. Then ultimately the mount... What have I done with that washer? I did have a washer that I'd polished up, that I've put down somewhere very safe so I can't find it. Yeah, I've actually managed to put that down somewhere really safe, and I don't know where on earth I've put it. Oh well. The one thing with the washer at least is it's not too big a panic, because I've got a couple of packets of them, so I can always polish another one. Well, it would help if I could remember what I'd done with that. Ah well, not to worry, eh? So, you can see the plant. I will come back when I've got a bit further down the road. Until then, again, big thanks to the guys at Machine Mart, Spray Quick and Dan's Clock Shop. Come back for the next instalment. Feel free to like and subscribe. Any comments or suggestions are still and always welcome. Look forward to hearing from you. See you down the road.